Hello, everyone, and welcome to Heads and Dovetails with me, Jill Harvey-Bush, and Jamie Hubbard. And we've got a big apology, really, haven't we, Jamie? We've got a big apology to our loyal listeners who might have wondered where we went last week.
All three of them.
No, it's
Where's
a
the
bit more
four?
than that. It's a few more than that.
Is it?
And yeah, I think we're up to regularly sort of 35 people when some people have millions on their podcast. I mean, we have more
Yeah,
than that listen, but there's a regular amount that
which is
comes
good. Well
in
done. Well
every
done,
week.
people.
And that's what makes it worthwhile, even if it was only a couple, Jamie. But a big apology. We didn't give any warning the previous podcast that we were going to miss it last week. And the honest answer is, with Easter and everything in the middle, we both kind of went, oops. I kind of remembered on, I think, Good Friday and sent you a message saying, oh, I think we're meant to be doing a podcast. Both of us were busy being the Easter Monday, Tuesday then full of clients, so we never got round to recording it. But that has led us, hasn't it, this morning to have a chat about,
Yes.
hmm, do we go to once a month? Do we go back to every 2 weeks? Because that's easier for us to remember as well, although I put it in my diary. And Jamie, what have we decided? Tell the listeners what we've
Well,
decided.
look, listeners, you need to know I did a Jill. I did a Jill on me. Jill mentioned, should we make it? Because 3 weeks does fly around. And the problem with that is you suddenly it's there again. And actually, I think we covered more things, more topical, quicker at 2 weeks. So I did a Jill on you, and I said, hang on, instead of going to once a month, why don't we do the opposite? Why don't we make it more frequent? Then we get to discuss more because I've got a hell of a journey on my hands for the next few months. And then Jill just said, oh, shall we talk about that? But we'd already chatted about what we would be, didn't we, Jill? What we'd be
Yes.
chatting about.
Yes. And it's a couple of things that we're going to be talking about. Well, a couple of things I want to is, yes, how fast time goes. And with that, I think we've both noticed the pressure to do for you, for editing for YouTube. I started a YouTube channel. Admittedly, the only thing that goes on there at the moment are my podcasts because I am not giving in to the pressure of I must do it, I must do it, I must do it. And I'm not comparing myself to everybody else who have got teams behind them. And that's when I've spoken to a couple of friends who post
Yeah.
regularly and do videos and so on. And I know you were feeling it as well, that actually you've got everyday life and work and students and clients coming in and jobs to
Yeah.
complete, which really are as important as keeping up with your YouTube channel. I mean, I know you
Well,
make some money, you're monetized, but
yes.
it's
And it
pressure, isn't it?
it is pressure, Jill, and it does make a difference. It really does. And a few times last year, I was very well paid, what I would consider very well paid. Some people would
Hmm.
say, mate, that's peanuts. That's what some people can earn in a day. Okay. Well, for me to earn that much money in a month covers a lot of my bills. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Um, and I do enjoy. It's weird, Jill, and I don't know whether that's why I'm in the current state I'm in. I feel like I'm in this limbo. That's why we're talking, Jill. You're going to help me
Yeah.
through this. You're going to help all of us through this. I feel like I'm in this weird limbo where, and I know where where I want to get things done, but part of me doesn't.
Yeah.
And it is that thing where there are so many things to do, you end up doing nothing.
Yes. Caught
And I'm
overwhelmed, Jamie.
over, there you go, overwhelmed. So I've, this is a good day for this, Jill, to be honest. This is a good day for this.
Hmm.
I've, I've taken a couple of things off my phone, a couple of apps. I decided don't need those anymore. I've changed a sort of game that I didn't play very often. It was one of those things that, if you're sitting in a waiting room and you've got to be able to put something down, and I suppose you could take a book with you, but we've all
Hmm.
got our phones these days. And it's one of those things where I could just play, somebody calls your name, you close it up and go, right.
I don't know
I,
that, Jamie, because I don't have any games on my phone. I don't do
well,
that. There you go.
I've got Sudoku on my phone and it's very good. And
Right.
I've had Sudoku since I had my first smartphone. So that's probably 10 or 15 years. tell us
Okay.
something. So that's
Isn't
and
it
I
funny?
do like to.
I don't consider that a game. Now, isn't that weird? I don't consider crosswords or Sudoku a game. Because when you said game to me, I'm thinking these games people play, like, and I can't even name any of them, but games people
Yeah,
play. But
I mean
for
it's a
me,
puzzle. Sorry,
yes, it's a
yes,
puzzle, and I
it's a
can understand
puzzle.
that. It's
Well, well,
something
I've
that I have.
changed.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I've changed one of them for, and I spoke to the son-in-law, who's future son-in-law. I've got that coming up at the end of the month, so I've got to get my speech fit. And I've started, so it's all right. Um, and he said there's a good app called Duolingo.
Yes, I've heard people saying they use Duolingo
Of
to learn a language.
Japanese.
Oh, well done. Well
I
done.
it's you know something. It's made easy by the app. It's
Right.
very good. You
Um,
choose how long you want to spend on it each day, and it's you're tested. You're shown and whatever and tested. And if you don't get it right, you have to do it again. Which is the thing, Jill, which is the thing that I think is missing these days. And it's the thing that I do with my teaching people sometimes. Some of them don't listen to me. Some of them probably don't listen to the podcast. Some of them might do. You've got to put in the effort. You've got to put in the
mhm.
hard. You know, you look at your garden. Look at what you have to do
Yeah,
before you plant those seeds.
absolutely. And I've
And
certainly
that's
got
the
a lot
thing.
to do this year once the guys have finished.
Yes, but that's the thing.
Yeah.
Somebody's just commented on one of my videos, and he's just said, and this video's been out a year, and he's just said something like, "Don't know why you're doing this. You're wasting your time flattening the back of the chisel when you could be getting on with work." And I was just like, "Hang on, who says it's a waste of time getting the back of a chisel flat and
Hmm.
polished? Okay, it doesn't need to be polished, but actually." It's the difference between it's between a Formula One car and a car you're just going onto the shops in. What do you
Yeah.
want? Do you want if you want to do Formula One, you've got to put the effort in. If you
Yeah.
want to go to the shops, anything will do. And he'd said it was wasted time, and I just don't believe it is. And this app is very good at getting you to into it. I've now realised to make it better, I need to screenshot some of the things so that I can see
Yeah.
because it gives you the English and the Japanese, and it's great. It's good, but it feels like a game. They've done it like a game,
So
so that
they've
you get
made
a
it
little.
addictive.
Yeah, great,
Absolutely.
great. Because if it's to learn a language, if it's to learn something that's moving you forward, that's excuse me, that's better than it being a game for
Yeah.
game's sake, and it's just advertising on there, and you're just plonk 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 whatever, and it makes no difference to your life at all. I want to make a difference. I'm planning. I told Mrs. H the other day I want to be in Japan in 2027.
Oh, in
Well,
fact, our neighbours just took off yesterday. Her son lives in Tokyo. So the husband, I happened to meet him in the garden. He said, "Oh, I've just driven up to Heathrow and back to drop Wendy off to go to Tokyo for 2 weeks because it's her son and grandson and so on." So yes, she
nice time
regularly
of year.
goes every couple of years she goes. You know, they revert. He comes here, she goes there. But do you
Yeah,
realise, Jamie, how we've just digressed again, and we're going to digress again from
go on,
telling
go
people
back.
what we were going to do. So
Sorry.
we started off. It's because we get busy and then off went the conversation. And so we don't forget, this is the only reason I'm making sure that we do it because people go, it's called a loop. You open up a loop of a story. They're called nested loops. And at the end of a conversation, you should make sure you've closed down all of the
And I was
nested
thinking
loops.
about that, Jill.
So before we go any further, and then we'll come back
Mm,
to it, what do we actually have decided, haven't we, that we're going to go once every 2 weeks now?
yes, I made
And
an
we're going to do it
executive
shorter.
decision. We should
You,
do.
yes, and we're going to
We
do
should
sort of
do.
30-minute
And I,
podcast and keep
and
to
I
it,
think
she says.
yes. Sorry to interrupt. And I think we'll both benefit from it because this is the time of year when things start moving, isn't it? And actually, for us to, we've got the season. I've just walked the dog, and I was supposed to be getting nettles as well. I've connected nettles 4 days in a row now.
I've got a story about nettles.
So, are you cutting some of them off for top three leaves for? for teas and things and sprinkle
Well,
on your
we
pasta?
don't tend to make teas out of it. We're not into flavored teas. I've got a nice, which Clive tried yesterday. I think it's dandelion, rose, and something else. And Clive said, doesn't taste of anything. Now, nettles, before I forget,
Go, go.
nettles. This is kind of personal. Picking lots of nettles in the morning, sticking it in our smoothie. All right, fresh, nicely washed in the smoothie with the spinach and the
Yeah, I
other
get
stuff
that.
that I put in there, along with some cleavers. And after a few, well, it took me a while to connect. Suddenly I'm using the toilet a lot
I
and
know
in a
what you're going to
hurry
say.
and in a hurry. And I was
Oh,
like,
okay.
oh God, what have I been eating? Or what's going on? Have I picked something up? You know, it was a case of I need to go to the loo and I need to go now. Sorry, listeners, this is quite personal. I hope you're not eating or anything. And I thought, this is ridiculous. This was sort of 4 or 5 days on the trot. And then I thought, I wonder, because I'd only been putting a few nettles in, and then I started thinking, well, these are really good and it's really tasty. And I started loading up the smoothie with nettles. Didn't didn't affect Clive. It certainly had an effect on my bowel movements, let's put it that way. So I thought I'm going to remove some of the nettles for a few days and the bloating. Jamie, I could have, this is really personal. I think I could have blown up a hot air balloon. I was just like, this is crazy. Then I Googled,
Yes. Yeah.
and yes, consumption of too many nettles can actually, for some people, really irritate their guts
Yeah.
and cause extreme bloating and IBS and all sorts. So I thought, right, cut back on the nettles, only go back to putting in a little bit. And phew, things cleared up because I thought, I'm off to the doctors at this rate. But
Is
it
that
did
the
make me
reason you could?
laugh and it did
Let's
make me
close
think
the
of
loop.
you.
Let's close the loop then. Is that the reason that we didn't do a podcast last week because you spent more time somewhere else?
No, you'd have heard, I'd have done it. I'd have sat there, Jamie, and it could have kept me occupied.
The
But no. And so then I've realized that, yes, actually, too much, where you kind
Yeah,
of go, oh, they're full of goodness, and they're this and they're that. And
yeah,
consequently, I'm thinking, oh, eat more, eat more. Clive, no problem whatsoever. But the effect on me was pretty dramatic, to be honest. So I'm giving a nettle warning here. There you go.
right. So I like that. I like what you've said. I too went through not similar, not at all, but I tried fresh nettles and I didn't like it. It didn't. I'm just moving you down the screen, Jill. Sorry.
Sorry.
Oh,
No,
you've
it's
dropped
me.
the
It
bottom.
was me that was moving. I need to get a
Well,
tissue.
and me at the same time. You nearly fell off the bottom of the screen. Sorry. I tried fresh nettles and I didn't like it. It wasn't good. And then I read this thing that said dry them out. And that's why I dry all mine out. I don't do fresh nettles. It's just too potent. It's
Yeah.
just too,
So how do you dry
y-
them out? Just in the sun? You cut them up? Do you put them
yeah.
in
So
the oven?
I
Do
take,
you?
I've found one of the best things to do, and it can look a bit dodgy because I've got a pair of scissors sticking out the top of my jacket. You know the cereal packets. You know our cereal packets with
Yes.
the that sort of plasticky sort
The
of bag that
greaseproof paper inside, kind of
ro-
greaseproofy.
that
Yeah.
sort of thing, that sort of bag. If
Yeah.
I
You,
take one of those folded up,
yeah.
I can put as many in. I can fold them back up, bring them home, rinse them under cold water, put them on a dinner plate, put them in a window in the sun. But when I'm cutting the nettles off, we've discussed this before, but when I cut the nettles off, top three leaves,
Hmm.
three pairs of leaves, no flowers. You've got to make sure they haven't got any of those little dangly flowers
Yeah.
coming. So you've got to do it. So this is the time to do it. That's
Yeah.
why I'm
We've got
out
plenty
there
in the
every day.
garden. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we haven't actually got any in our garden at the moment. I
Oh,
don't know
you're
why,
lucky.
because it's wild enough to have them.
We've got
But
hundreds.
but well, now's the time because the
Yeah.
thing is, I've still got some of last year's, and all I did last year was um, I bet I didn't fill a sort of normal sort of jam jar. But sprinkled on this, sprinkled on that, and the occasional, when you think, oh, I'm gonna have some honey with some water or whatever, just to add some the opposite. To me, it's like the yin to the yang. It's the
Hmm.
honey is this, that, the other, whereas the nettle is different and it might
Yeah.
help another way. Especially meant to help with headaches and things, isn't it? Migraines. apparently.
Oh, right. Okay.
Not that I'm
I don't
suffering from any
suffer
of that,
particularly. So,
but yes, that's what I do. Put them in a sunny window for about 2 weeks. I chop it up with a pair of scissors, very small. Put it in a jam jar. Forget about them until I think, oh, you know what? I just fancy or that.
so maybe that's what I should try. And then rather than put fresh nettles in our smoothie in the mornings, I could just put some dried nettles in, particularly in the winter, when they're not around, etc. So I've got
Yeah.
pots because what I was doing was freezing
Yes.
some as well. So, I can absolutely try that. And as I said, we have a wild area and it is full of nettles and it is full of cleavers. But it did make me smile and it did make me think of you, Jamie, with your nettle tea. So isn't it interesting? It's another lesson I think to be learned that sometimes we think, oh yes, this is really good, but
Yeah.
actually in moderation. It's like dandelion leaves. Apparently they're really good. Not, I don't know if there's any side effects. I'll Google. Something I'm going to try because we have hundreds of dandelions in our garden at the moment. Clive's always
They're having a
determined to
good year,
leave
aren't
them, aren't they just?
they? Yeah, everyone.
And of course, you can eat every bit of the dandelion, which I didn't realize. You can eat the petals, which are
Yeah.
really tasty, but without the green bit underneath. You can use the root to make coffee, and you can use the dandelion leaves as like salad leaves. Now, the guy I was watching was saying that, and he was eating, he said it might be a bit bitter for you, but to counteract the bitterness, just squeeze a bit of lemon juice over them, and they're really
Right.
tasty. So that's next on the list, Jamie, to try some
There you
dandelion
go.
leaves.
I'll be,
It's
I'll,
all
I'll be,
there, all
yeah,
free food.
I'll be looking out for it in your Instagram stories
Yes,
because
it'll be coming.
no, it's good. I mean, the thing is as well, Jill. I mean, for me, it's just treating the nettle as a herb. Drying it out is it's so easy, isn't it? Let's
Yeah,
face it. It's
yeah.
almost the lazy version.
Or, when I finish baking and the oven's cooling off, I could put them in on the end and they can dry on that. I mean, a dehydrator is always good for things like that. I've always wanted to have a dehydrator because they're low energy
Yeah.
and you can put stuff in for, apples. And having talked about, it's a good year for dandelions, the apple blossom and somebody else, lots of other people have commented on my Instagram saying not only the apple blossom, the pear blossom, the fruiting trees seem to be going
Yes.
mad with blossom this year. So a good year. Maybe that's because it's been so wet for quite a while, and now we're going into a dry spell. So
Yes. I mean, our
yes.
wisteria. Have you seen the wisterias around? The
Well,
wist.
I did look at next doors, and it's not his isn't looking well. He's deceased now, so the bungalow is for sale. And I don't think the wisteria has been cut back for a couple of years. I mean, it's growing in the gutter and everywhere. And it didn't, funnily enough, it didn't look that
No.
good because I saw Gardener's World on Friday, I think it was, and them saying about the wisteria. She was out looking and thought, oh yes, I haven't had a look at Mike's this year. And I went and had a look at our neighbours, but it's not good. I think it
No, it's
hasn't
good.
been cut back for 2 or 3 years, and it's really not looking its best. So,
Yes. I
but
mean,
everywhere else, I agree. It's just amazing.
I went and had my beard trimmed and tidied up, ready for the wedding because I'm getting this guy used to me and my beard and all
Yeah,
sorts. And it's in Barnt Green, which is quite a nice area. It's a bit of a football player sort of area outside, far enough from Birmingham to be outside of Birmingham, but
yeah,
close enough to be down the road.
yeah,
Um, and I went there to have my beard done the other day, and you can't park on the high street. The high street is always full, and there isn't much parking. But there's this one road that goes off it, and that's a very busy road. And I parked really towards the far end of this road, and I walked past. I stopped at this beautiful 1920s house, maybe 1910, lovely house. But the wisteria, the diameter of the wisteria at the bottom must have been 11 inches diameter.
wow.
Um,
So an
and it was
old
just,
tree.
oh, it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I just think, if there's one thing, my top tip for anybody, if you haven't got the money to do your house up, which I haven't, but not yet, it's all coming, it's all happening. If there's one thing you can do for your house that is, I think, is one of the most important things to do, and I'm sure you'll agree with me on this, Jill, get the garden sorted. Get
Yes.
on with the garden because that's the one thing that everything else, throw money at it, throw a lot of labour at it, you can change that quite quick.
Yeah.
But you can't fake 20 years of wisteria growth. You can't fake all of that. All of the gardening takes time. And it's the one
Unless
thing
you're
that
wealthy enough to buy
I,
the tree, the big trees and ship them in, which we're not. So hence you saw my little elderflower bushes that I bought from the Woodland Trust were all of 2 inches. I don't remember last year I bought them and they came in this box and I was getting really excited thinking they were going to be, or at least, a foot high. And they were
yeah.
all about four tiny little plugs
Oh,
in this box and planted them. One wasn't doing very well, it got eaten, so I brought it in, seeing if I could rescue it. Well, I'm very happy to report this year, because they grow quite rapidly, they must be, good 18 inches tall, all of them. I
oh,
think I
brilliant.
posted recently. So I've managed to rescue those and I've cleaned weeds away from two of them because I want to make sure that I don't poison Clive and I, because I'm never quite sure what is elderflower when I go out. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but there are there are different blossoms out there. And people, no, no, that's not elderflower, Gill. That is. And I'm like, are they elderflower berries? Are they elderflower berries? So I was so scared we were going to poison him because I love elderflower cordial, etc. That I thought,
Yeah.
oh well, there's only one way to make absolutely sure, and that's buy my own flipping elder trees and plant them. So that's what
Yeah.
I've done. So we'll
Yes.
probably get elderflowers in about 3 years' time. They'll be lovely. We might well have moved, but hey, somebody else will get to enjoy the elderflowers. But I agree, it's the garden, and it looks so nice.
There's
It catches your eye, you know.
It does. It makes such a difference. I've just started reading this book. I'm holding a book up to show Jill. It's called Ganbate. Is that the right way around or wrong way around?
That's the right way around. I can see it. Yes, the
Okay,
Japanese art of
Ganbate.
always moving forward.
Yes, and I've started reading this, and there's in the forward there. There's this guy this Japanese guy is 107 years old, and this teaches you details as well. They're chatting to this guy, and they're walking through his garden and asking him about long life and whatever. And he's picked some of his, and they've missed this detail in the blooming book that's about it. They've missed the detail that he says he does his garden and he picks his vegetables and he does this and does that, and he gifts them some vegetables. But they're not saying he's 107. They're not saying, well, he could be 107 years old because he spent most of his life doing his own food, digging his
Yeah,
garden, whatever.
yeah,
They're going on about the mind. I get the mind, but it's also the doing, isn't it? And what you're doing.
absolutely.
So I think that's a little detail they missed, but gardening. We know it
Absolutely.
works. It's good
Yes,
for us.
it's good exercise. I was saying to somebody, I think I did the post of me, you commented on Clive's with my lovely circular saw. Woohoo! I've got myself a circular saw. And it's that, and it's lifting heavy boards. I've got the massive bits of wood, one which I literally lifted and dragged around. I don't know how I did it now, it's so heavy,
Yeah,
all the way around to the greenhouse and put
yeah,
that in there, thinking, oh, I might have to cut this up. And in fact, the greenhouse is even longer. So I need to move some more wood around because I'm not having this wood thrown away. And when I had to stop halfway around the house carrying this piece of wood, I was like, I thought, this is some workout. This
yeah,
was like working out at the gym, carrying, God knows how heavy this piece of wood is, but it's
yeah,
definitely more than sort of 20 kilos. And I thought, yeah, this was like running up and down the gym, carrying weights, which is what I used to do. But this is much better. I'm
yeah.
outside and I've got something at the end of it. And I got into a
Yes,
conversation with a lady, and we were talking about she doesn't like the gym either. And she totally agreed with me that gardening is an incredibly good exercise. You're up and down, you're moving, you're kneeling, you're standing, you're bending, you're lifting stuff. And she said the same. It's much better than actually being in a gym. And we both agreed, because actually you come out of the gym and go, yes, you finish the garden and think, right, that's the lettuce in, that's the raised bed. There's a plus at the end of it,
a
Jamie,
proper
not just
reward.
a proper reward, not
Yeah,
just the feeling of euphoria and yes, haven't I done well? I've been to the gym, but a
yeah,
feeling of wow, look at that vegetable bed or garden.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be vegetables, it can be lots of people grow flowers, or look at my greenhouse, or look, I've put the raised beds together. And there's a real added level of satisfaction, at least for me.
Yes,
I'm talking me and this other lady who's into gardening said, I totally agree with you. I come in and I can look back and see what I've achieved, as well as knowing I've been fit today. I mean, I was literally, there was sweat running into my eyes, Jamie. I was like, oh, this is so hot out here. And then when Clive realized I'd lifted it on my own, he said, why don't you come in and ask me? And I said, well, I just wanted to see if I could do it. You know, they say strength. He said, it took the two guys to lift one of those pieces of wood when they were chopping it up and get it into place. He said, you've carted it all the way around the bungalow to get it in the greenhouse. Yes. And that's the difference, isn't it? It's
Yes,
exercise with an added benefit, I
with
think,
purpose.
on
Yes,
the end,
yeah,
and pleasurable purpose for
yeah.
me. Anyway, I'm just speaking
How's
from me.
how's the house doing? You just mentioned the house.
Well,
How's the
the house is kind of on
you got?
pause at the moment. I've got a couple of
Okay,
minutes, have I? We're doing
yeah,
30 minutes. The house, the underpinning is all done, so that's great. And they've cleared a bit of it, but they've left, obviously, they haven't done any of the top work. They've just filled the holes in. They've put some sort of very rough concrete just over the some of the holes, and the rest of it is all still mud, etc., where all the tracks were. And that will be the next phase. We're hoping somebody's going to come out this week to have a look at how the site, it's lovely when your home is referred to as, they'll come and check the site and see how the previous company have left the site and then decide what needs doing next. But I'm presuming phase two will be the garden room coming down, being demolished and rebuilt. That would seem to make sense to me, but then hey, what do I know? And then I presume they'll sort out, you know, the patio, the garden. We've still got our lovely garden structures, sculptures, whatever you'd like to call them at the moment, of flagstones and bits here, there, and everywhere, all over the garden. So that's a little bit disheartening, but we're kind of going, okay, we're just going to ignore it this year. It is what it is. When it's all sorted, then, you know,
yes,
and that's the other thing with the garden. You can start again next year. It soon recovers. And talking of
yes.
which, where they had boards on the grass for 10 weeks and it killed it and it was just muddy, it's amazing how fast that grass, they finished on the Thursday before Easter. The grass is already coming through. And dare I say, the patio, which the old patio, which some flagstones have been left down in the middle because they didn't need to, you know, take them up. Well, it had never looked so clear as to when the guys were here, but now, a week later, dandelions are already coming through the between the flagstones. And you just think, how resilient. I said to Clive literally this morning as we are having breakfast, look how big those dandelions have got already.
I know.
So just goes to show. But that's where we are. We're on a little bit of a pause. We're waiting for the man to come and do a site visit, who's going to do the next phase, and then he will be able to give us a date as to when that starts. And as you say, time flies, Jamie. Here we are. We're going to be in May, end of this week.
Yeah,
And you think, well, they're not starting this week, that's for sure. And then there'll be a couple of phases after that, which will then be the repair to the inside, which we're not particularly looking for. That will be a bit messy
is there
and
much to do
dusty.
on the inside then?
Yes, they've got a chip in most of our rooms on the back end. We're in a bungalow on the back end of the bungalow. So that's the kitchen diner. So the dining part of the kitchen, oh, actually, halfway up the kitchen as well, is all cracked. So where the foundation's completely cracked and fell, all our lovely new plaster cracked and went with it. And they've got to chip all that plaster where all the cracks are. They're going to chip all the plaster off, stitch the building back together. Apparently, you know, they literally put a metal bit to try and either side of the crack. Then they will fill and then they replaster. But you always know it's never going to be the same as a completely newly plastered wall, Jamie. Eventually, those hairline cracks will appear where the infills of plaster has gone. So that'll be in the kitchen diner. The lounge is quite bad as well, so they'll have to do the back end of the lounge, which, of course, what they've said is, well, we can't match the colour, so we're going to have to redecorate everything. So you're going, oh God. My office that I'm sitting in at the moment, that's got cracks on the wall, so that'll have to be done. And then what is Jackson's room, spare room next to me, they've got cracks there, so that'll all have to be chipped away, repaired, replastered, and then repainted. So you go, oh God, here we go again. But never mind, we're getting there, as I keep saying to people, we're
We're
getting
getting there.
there, and the
The
worst,
worst is done.
hopefully, yeah, the
Yeah, the
worst is
worst is
done.
over.
At least we now know the the house is secure, if you like. We're saleable again. Even if we wanted to leave it as it is, we could now sell the house and say it's fine, we're underpinned.
Oh, that's saleable. I thought you were going to put it on the water and take it for
No,
not that sale.
not SAIL, but SALE. The only reason I say that is the property next door is for sale at the moment. So, and you do kind of think, I hope they're, going to think about insurance. Having said that, of course, and this is why insurance claims have gone up, and we've just had our renewal come in, and it has gone up another £120 this year. And they do say the reason that the insurance is going up, house insurance, is like everything because materials have got more expensive,
Yeah,
labor has got more expensive,
yeah,
utilities for the people using it's got more expensive, wages, etc. So, of course, if all of that goes up, the size of the claims
I know.
goes up, and they're trying
This
to cover that. But of course, that means that everybody's premiums basically go up
and
every
and
year.
and and this is something I'm struggling with, Jill. I'm struggling with. Somebody told me the other day about how much he pays one of his staff, and I was thinking, I suppose if the boats were still going on, what's that? Nearly 14 years later, I I have not kept up with the I've not kept up with the wages and salaries that
Mm,
people get for the last 13 years.
yeah.
And he told me, and I was just like, blimey, that's so much money. And it's because I made the decision to earn a lot less. I
Mm,
made that decision for health reasons,
yeah.
for life reasons, so that I'm still alive, to scale everything back. A lot of people wouldn't do it. A lot of people are too bothered what other people think about things,
Correct.
and I could have either had a heart attack, stroke, whatever. I could have committed to whatever. And I'm glad I've done it the way I've done it because now not far off the end of the mortgage and I can get on with my life and get on with it. But the wages, people, their daily rate. I
Hmm.
can't believe some of the daily rates. And it's almost like the corporate consultant type
Hmm.
salary or daily wage has dropped down into builders and carpenters. And
Hmm.
those people want hundreds per day.
Yeah, and that again, it becomes supply and demand, Jamie. And not being funny, I'm going to stick up for them. Seeing what our guys went through to
Yeah,
underpin this place,
yeah,
they deserved every penny of money
yeah.
that they got compared to, and some people say, oh, well, they haven't got the brain thing. No, they did have to really think about it and the stress about what if this collapses? What if we haven't supported it right? What
Oh,
if the
yeah,
shuttering is not right? What if I haven't ordered the right amount of concrete? I mean, Clive and I literally said, I hope they're paid a good daily rate because I sure as hell wouldn't want to be down a 10-foot hole in the pouring rain, covered in mud and under the house with water pouring at you under the foundations that's coming down the hill. And people
yeah,
forget about that. So poor old
yeah,
Gary was standing trying to dig out the underneath the foundations, ready
yeah,
for the underpinning, and he's standing in constant water
yeah,
that's coming down the hill because of the rain last night or whatever.
yeah.
So they certainly earned their
They
money's
do.
worth. And it is supply and demand. And it goes back to that thing. Over years, we have looked down on trades. And I'm saying we, as
Yes,
in the general population, have looked down
yes.
on trades. But who are you more helpful, that we want when the plumbing goes wrong or the electrics go wrong or, it's actually the trades. So
It
I'm
is.
quite
It is.
pleased to see that people can earn good money. My sister was saying, a friend of theirs, now the son, and she was saying he didn't go to university. He went with his dad into the building trade. And she said, here he is in his late 40s, early 50s, massive house. Its plan is to retire at 55. Lovely car. They go on huge holidays, money not a problem. And
Yeah,
but he's been a really good builder
yeah.
and consequently made his money. And you look and think, who are the idiots? Didn't go to university, hasn't come out with a 30, 40, 50,000 pound debt, not knowing, which a lot of them do, isn't it? Not knowing what they want to actually do.
I know. I know.
And when people talk about go to university and have the university experience, I don't think it's quite the same as it. it used to be years ago, you know?
No, glory days have gone.
Yes, I think it's very, very different, but there we go.
Glory
So
days have gone.
here we
Right.
go from wisteria to
And we'll
to
be doing
what
it
we're
every two
doing to
weeks.
time. So we're going to do it every two
Yes.
weeks. All right. So we're
Yes.
going to do 30 minutes. We'll do our utmost best to keep
Yes.
to 30 minutes every 2 weeks. So we'll be due, Jamie, she says, getting out her old-fashioned diary. So it will be Wednesday the 14th. Sorry, Wednesday the 14th will be our next podcast. Okay.
Brilliant.
Great.
Yes.
Decision made. That
Yes.
sounds bonkers, doesn't it? As saying we're too busy and we can't do 3 weeks, but let's do one every 2 weeks.
Isn't that
Logic
the way
behind
you do
it.
things?
Absolutely. Is we review it, we look at it, and think actually this is going to, in a funny way, save us time and keep us in a pattern so you and I don't forget. That's the other thing, isn't it? When it's an odd number, we tend to
Yes.
forget. When it's every other week, it's easier to remember.
And can I tell you as well, the other thing that because I did think the other day, thought maybe we should go monthly. And then I thought, well, hang on, because then it'll be like chatting to an old relative. We'll be chatting to, when you don't see a relative for a few months or whatever. And I just thought, I don't want it to be like that. I want it to be more current and more on top
Yes.
of
What's
what's
going on
going
right
on
in
right
our
now.
own lives and in life in
Yes,
general. Yeah, we haven't even got round to the topics I had written down of AI, too busy, pressure, YouTube, social media. We kind of touched on that a little
we've
bit,
touched on it a bit.
and mortgage
Bit more
payments
next,
and
yeah, bit more
looking at
next time.
that. Yes, absolutely. So thank you very much to those very loyal listeners that we do have, Jamie. And we hope you enjoy it. And we say we're always happy for you to join in the conversation if you'd like to do it. It's not earth-shattering, it's just a bit of fun with Jamie and I, and hopefully you get some tips along the way. I think, there's usually a little kernel of information that we give out, isn't there, Jamie? Little one,
Just
he's
a,
showing me
just
a
a
very
tiny one.
tiny one. Okay, well, I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Wonderful.
You have a
Wonderful.
good couple of weeks.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.